fall out, Tom usually says things like, do you think that's like, I mean, I don't, what do you...
Sure, that's a good idea.
I don't, and I'll be like, what are you trying to say? So I think, yeah, we did fall out, mainly over, not over our writing though, I think we fall out over stuff like, when we fall out over timekeeping. That's
Usually like jokes, Lucy will be like, I've written this hilarious joke, and I'll be like, it doesn't work. And then that will become a source of quite...
We also fall out over grammar because my grammar is really, really bad.
Yeah.
And Tom's grammar is really bad. Tom's grammar is...
That's what I mean, you have to, like, if you're the good grammar person in the collaborating partnership, you're just basically a spell checker and kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And every time Tom is like, why don't you just learn how to lay out the dialogue? Just learn how to do it and then I won't have to do it. But it's a mystery to me. I try and then I don't know what I do wrong, but anyway, so without Tom, it would be very much more a flowing, non-grammatically correct sort of thing. Don't anyone put that on the internet because I am an English teacher, so...
Added into the killing people off and the trying to save people camp, and that's our main source of disagreement, I think. Catherine's always like, how about we burn them, or
I like to be creative.
Yes, you do.
Is that really what happens when you read an explanation?
That's what it's supposed to do, I think.
They are very insincere punctuation marks. The only time you can really use this after the word congratulations is the only appropriate time to use them. Otherwise, congratulations sounds sarcastic.
No way!
No, but I was gonna say, I think like being in collaboration is quite good for those moments because you've got, if you're writing by yourself, then maybe you would just throw in the towel. When you've got someone else who's just kind of shivving you along, making sure, you know, that's when it helps to be two instead of one.
I'm glad you pulled it back though, because it was a little bit dark.
I did quite well.
Like, I'm worried I've just split up so many relationships. Like, no more books from these guys. And that's actually answered one of my questions. I was going to say, which of you is most likely to pull a Zayn Malik and go solo? Apparently Katharine.
Yeah.
And she really wants to write a historical novel, don't you? Yes.
There's a lot of history in your books, though. There's a lot of history.
Yes, there is. I probably one day want to do more, and she wants to do... What do you want to do?
I'm more Bridget Jonesy.
Yeah.
I'm sitting side saddle here, by the way, just like to point that out. I've got these two large pieces of wood that would be between my legs. I have decided to take the elegant route. You can't
No, it's too early in the morning.
You just made it dirty. It's legit. Anyway, my name is Linda Sailsbury, and I have two heroines in my last trilogy, Twilla, who is a very quiet and submissive and nervous young woman, and then Erin, who is the exact opposite, and the two of them, I think, both bring out the best in each other. As the books go on, it's really hard to say anything about Twilla without being super spoilery.
The heroine of my Potion Diary series is called Samantha, and she is an alchemist and reluctant adventurer. But unfortunately, with the third book out next month, I've had to say goodbye to Samantha, which makes me a little bit emotional. But my new heroine is also just as awesome, and she is an engineer, or that's what she would like to be, and so she's really inspiring to me at the moment. And I would just like to say that my heroines are any of you who have come out here today and overcome anything, sort of anxiety or fears, to come and be out here and meet us, and hopefully you'll come and say hello afterwards. You guys are my heroines. And I don't think it would sustain my interest over an entire book, but that's what I found interesting about seeing Wonder Woman films, we keep bringing up, is that she kind of is a bit one note. Like she at one point she's told, no, you can't go do this, and she just goes and does it because that's basically what she's designed to do. She's a superhero. But in terms of a book, yeah, I think I'm reading a book at the moment, which is in improved form, called The Truth and Lies of Ella Blatt, which is the next book from Emily Barr, who wrote The One Memory of Laura Banks. And not giving anything away, but that main character is warring with an awful, awful personality inside of her head. And she is, in the beginning, horrible. She's terrible at it, but it's the revealing of why she's like that, sort of unearthing her story, that makes you suddenly empathize with her or root for her, and that to me is really, that's the really interesting part of the
the story.
Something I always find quite interesting as well, and quite like to see and quite like to do, is if you put the same character in the same situation in different points, and hopefully they react differently if they're in the same situation at the end of the book than they're in the same situation at the beginning of the book, whether that's worse because they've been beaten down and some terrible things and they've seen the truth of the world and they're not going to be as empathetic, or better that they look back and say, oh well, I screwed up that first time, I'm being given a second chance. Or sort of situations that parallel themselves in some way at sort of drastically different points of the book, so that you have, so that hopefully they do something different. And I think if they do the same thing both times, that's when they sort of become quite one note. My all-time favorite heroine is Alana from the Tomorrow Pierce books. She's great. Thank you. Woo! Best. Read them. They're amazing. In more contemporary pop culture, I really liked, not totally teen appropriate, but has anyone seen Glow on Netflix yet? I really liked the two main women from that. So they're not all-time faves yet, because that only came out like a month ago, but recent faves.
Yeah, well actually, let's do a tie-in. So I was also a fan of Tamara Pierce, but the books that I read were I think it was The Immortals with Dane Sarasri, the girl that could shoot a bow and arrow much better than Katniss, and before her. and also, she was just really cool because she was a very damaged individual again, but she was trying to sort of get on a sort of path to redemption, and I really liked her. And then probably all the others are villains. All the other girl characters have always been villains. I'm sorry.
But you're on the right path, because we're having Maleficent made into a heroine, and so I feel like you're at the forefront of villains becoming heroines.
Trend.
I find this kind of question really difficult. It's like I had someone come up and ask me, oh, what kind of books should I get my teenager? And I was like, books? I don't even read. I don't know books. Just everything kind of goes out of my head. I think I've already said Matilda as one of my favorite heroines, and yeah, I don't know. Come back to me.
I love all these people. Obviously Hermione Granger, especially when I was younger, but now I'm a little older. McGonagall and Molly Weasley, and the woman army of the Harry Potter series, and just the small heroism, the everyday heroism, that should be a thing. And obviously J.K. Rowling in real life is my idol. I worship her.
Me too. I've got Violette Szabo, I don't know if you know her, who was, a film was made about her called Carl Benjamin's Pride. She was an SOE operative who fought off Les Mis Germs and was ultimately killed in a concentration camp. So she's my all-time real hero, and my all-time fictional hero is Lady Penelope. And there's a particular episode of Thunderbirds where it starts off with her, she's kind of gambling all her jewels away, and it's slightly pervy and kinky. And I was kind of 10 when I was watching it thinking, I know that I don't know what's going on here, but I think I like it.
You can keep reading decade after decade.
That is another fun thing about fantasy and sci-fi, is that you can allow the reader can project their own view onto it. People have written to me and said, oh, the bone season is clearly an allegory for this thing. And I may not have intended that, but I love seeing it. I love presenting that, and you can just write something onto it based on your own personal experiences.
Yeah. Okay. So, we touched on it a little bit, but I always find this an interesting question because I don't think I have an answer. What do you think is the difference between fantasy and sci-fi? Is there a difference? I mean, that kind of is aesthetically, I guess, in a sense, but then there are all these different books and films and TV shows that have kind of defined that as well.
I always thought it was something to do with plausibility. Sci-fi, I guess, is things that technically could maybe happen, and then fantasy is like dragons.
Dragons could happen.
Well, dragons could totally happen, but no, I think that's what I've always assumed it was. I mean, I'm sure there's an official definition somewhere.
No
definition. I would say it's but I've always thought of it as technology versus magic. If the explanation is magic, then it's fantasy. If the explanation is technology, then it's science fiction. But at the same time, like, look at Star Wars, for example. Like, they've got space wizards, but then and then the prequels try to explain it in the science fiction way.
And then it goes bad.
Yeah,
It's like, no midi-chlorians, thank you.
Yes.
I always call Star Wars science fantasy for that reason. It's like the ultimate mix between them.
It is. I mean, having swords.
But they're made of lasers.
Science swords!
But that's where the aesthetics come in.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, I haven't just got back from Yalc. I have been back from Yalc for a few hours now. I got really tired about 2:30, 3 o'clock, so we just came back to the room and had a rest, which was the most amazing thing for me to do because now I am ready to go to Quiz YA tonight. And yes, I am wearing my night dress, by the way, because I have just been asleep. Today has just been amazing. I know that I haven't vlogged anything of me talking, mainly because I have been at panels for the majority of the day and meeting authors, so a lot of what you'll see is that I have managed to get 9 books so far and I have only bought 3 of them. There have been so many proofs given away, and I've watched some panels and there have been some amazing books where I've thought, yes, I need to get that. Let me show you them. The first one is The Fallen Children by David Owen. Now, I had no idea what this book was about, but I had heard a lot about it. So when I saw that he was on the SFF Now panel with Samantha, Shannon and Taran Matharu, I was just amazed at how good this book sounded because I knew nothing about it. So I had to pick this up after the panel. I just nearly knocked myself out with the book. The next one, guys, I didn't know that this was going to be available. Amy did not tell us, but it is The Potion Diaries going viral. Now, if you've been a fan of my YouTube for a while, you will know that I did a reveal of this over on my channel. So when Amy said that they were selling these, I was so excited. And let me just say, Amy is probably the sweetest person I have ever met. I was lucky enough to be invited to her book launch next month, so I will definitely be going to that and supporting her because she is seriously amazing. The next book I got was Because You Love to Hate Me. Now, obviously Samantha Shannon's in this and I'm a huge fan of hers, so as soon as I knew that this was available at Yalc, I had to buy it because I've been so excited to read Samantha Shannon's story and obviously some of the other stories, so I'm very, very excited for this. Now, the next ones are all proofs that I picked up for free. There have been some really great ones, as I said earlier, and I was super happy to get them. The first one was The Sacrifice Box by Martin Stewart. I have heard that this book is amazing and he had kind of hinted on Twitter that there would be a giveaway of this book, so I got in there really early, and this was from Penguin. The next book is from Chicken House. All you had to do was sign up to their newsletter and they gave you a copy of The Brilliant Fandom by Anna Day, which I have heard some incredible things about. The next one is a horror and I'm so excited for this. There was only a few proofs and oh, it just sounds amazing, and that is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, so I'm really excited to read this one. The next one is The Truth and Lies of Ella Black by Emily Barr. Now, if you know me, you will know that I absolutely adored Emily's book, The One Memory of Flora Banks, so I didn't know this one was going to be here and I saw it on Penguin Platform's table and it was like, oh my god, give it to me. So I am so excited about this, and they spoke a bit about this book. Amy spoke a bit about this book in the panel that she was on, the Heroines panel, so, and she said it was really good, so I'm excited. The proof I picked up was Blackbird by N.D. Gomes. This book looks so pretty and I got this from the people at HQ. Again, they had a proof table and were just giving things away, so I was really happy to pick this one up. This comes out in November. The last one, this is a weird one. This is from Penguin. This is, I don't know what this is called. Wizards and Robots. Like, this sounds strange, but it looked really cool, so I couldn't not pick it up. And the last one is a sampler, but I was so excited. This is Flawed, a novel, and it includes Sarah Bernard, Holly Bourne, Tanya Byrne, Non Pratt, Melinda Salisbury, Lisa Williamson and Elena Wood. So I am so excited to be reading this because this does not come out until next July. And then lastly, this isn't a book, but this is a notebook that the lovely people at Chapter 5 got me, so I'm really excited to use that. This is their new branding, by the way. They are the lovely people from Hodder. That is everything. I am off now to go and meet everyone at Quiz YA. So I need to get ready, change my makeup, change my look, and I will see you all there.
I'm actually recording this. It is so bad. That was the best.
Hi guys, so we have just got back from Quiz YA. I had a little bit too much to drink, which wasn't great, but I was with Danny Reviews, that's her Twitter handle, from Twitter obviously, all night, and she was on Will's team with us, and her boyfriend were absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that I met them and were on their team because they were so nice. I waited so long to meet him after reading like the most amazing book ever, After the Fire, and just to meet him and to be on his team, it was seriously amazing, and I'm so happy that I went to it. I was super nervous before and didn't think I was going to end up going, but I'm so glad that I did. We came 5th, which isn't fantastic, but it is better than last. It was like 5, we were 5th out of like 9 I think, which isn't too bad, mid-table. Boop, boop. And it's now like nearly 12 o'clock and we have to be up early in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed. Good night everyone. End of day 1 of Yalc.
Hi, I'm Hayley Barker, author of Showstopper, which is set in a very horrible circus, like no other circus. It's very dark and very risky, and death is a frequent occurrence, and it's a love story between two people from two very different groups in society, and the kind of journey that they go on to try and escape from the very horrible circus.
Hi, my name's McDonald, I'm the author of Blackwing. It's a book about, I call it a fantasy action thriller. It's kind of a fast-paced story about a guy, he's on the edge of it's kind of like a nuclear wasteland, except it's not nuclear, it's all the bad magic of a past war. He runs into an old flame, I guess, who when they were teenagers, they were supposed to marry and they didn't, and then their relationship through the story kind of decides the fate of the world.
Hi, I'm Karen McManus. I'm the author of One of Us is Lying, and it is like The Breakfast Club with murder. So basically 5 teens go into detention, only 4 come out. One of them dies during detention. And it turns out that he is the creator of the notorious school gossip app and was about to spill life-changing secrets on the other 4, so they all become suspects in his death.
Oh, I've got a terrible admission. Mine's from the inspiration came from the disgusting Tory rag that is the Evening Standard. I used to write on the bus. I used to work, when I worked at Simon & Schuster, I used to get the bus home every day. And my laptop was out of charge, so I picked up, it was pre-Osborne by the way when I read it, but there was an article in there about a guy, about a lady who'd lost her husband 3 years ago, and she found that the grief of losing her husband was getting worse instead of better. And the only thing that kept her going was that her husband had been the voice of the underground. Every time the doors opened on the tube, this voice would say, "Please mind the gap." And one by one, the stations were starting to take away his voice. They were starting to digitise the system. So she started a long campaign, which means that now I believe it's still in Bankman Station. Monday to Friday, she goes and sits on the platform every day, and when the doors open, half an hour every day, she gets her husband back. And I carried it, I ripped it out and carried it in my pocket until it dissolved, basically. I knew I had to rewrite it for young adults.
The event that After the Fire is based on was what became a siege in
the Texan desert in 1993. It was a religious community that had were very secretive and very isolated from everyone else. They had gradually become onto the radar of the American authorities, and an attempt to go and investigate them turned into a siege that lasted nearly 3 months, which ended in an assault by the forces and a fire and a terrible kind of pitched battle in which a huge amount of the people in the community died, but not all of them did, and the survivors and what they had been through and how they would kind of piece a new life together, having lived in this remarkably strange, repressive place, was where the idea for the novel came from. Some of the people who survived were children and teenagers, and that played into what I was interested in writing about.
My story encounters is set in Zimbabwe, when in 1994, in a rural school in just outside Harare, 62 children out of 200, they were all out on the playground. 62 children went running back to their staff in the staff room, claiming to have seen a strange craft hovering over the trees, landing in the trees, and 2 creatures come out and talk to them. And of course, the teachers all thought this was nonsense, they're just having fun, but the children kept to their story on and on and on. They all told the same details, they all drew the same pictures, and they got to the stage where the teachers took this a bit further, and an American psychiatrist got interested in the story, and he travelled to Zimbabwe to go and talk to the children. And it's all very well documented. They're all these videos out there on YouTube. And even to this day, I actually spoke to one of them who was then a child there. To this day, she is adamant that they absolutely saw something. Can't say exactly what, but there was something that happened. And what really caught me was not just what they saw, because you could go on and on about that, but why they saw it, what was going on in their minds as to why they think they saw this thing, this craft and these creatures.
The certainty that they had, and that was something I found quite fascinating.
I think I did that more with my last book, where sometimes you don't read a history book that's about that specific bit of history, but you write. I was reading a lot about East and West Germany, even though I was writing about Nazi Germany, because the tactics were similar and the emotions were similar, which is the important thing, I think.
Yeah, I wrote about the Afghanistan war, and I did as little research as I possibly could. I just watched every war film I possibly could. It didn't have to be about Afghanistan, because surely the thought of someone shooting at you is quite a universal terror. So, you know, yeah. Sophie Mackenzie, I think she's a brilliant writer of thrillers for teens, and she writes a lot of high concept stuff, and she always said to me, is it serving the story? Is the research serving the story? Because if it's not, bin it, get rid of it, move on, tell the story. Primarily you're there to tell the story. And for me, as someone who likes reading very pure stories, that makes a lot of sense to me.
You've also got to do something different. So there was a lot of journalism around the Beslan massacre, and that was very focused on the political machinations and who was telling the truth and who wasn't, and all those kind of things. And I sort of wasn't really interested in that. And then you have those very sort of the non-fiction books that really want to lay out the facts exactly how it happens. And that's, again, I'm not doing that. I'm telling a story, and I'm telling them emotional story. So that's my focus.
For Dear Charlie, I created a spreadsheet, almost like a table, where I wrote down all the facts from where the school shooting happened, the perpetrators, who they were. I was trying to find patterns and trends, and then I realized that Dear Charlie isn't trying to answer that question, because I can't answer that question. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not an expert. Like, I don't know why a student would pick up a gun and kill friends and classmates in the hallways. So I did have to kind of close the spreadsheet down and just try and focus on the story.
Yeah, the only bit of the research I think that I really was very careful about and really kind of actually did put quite slavishly into the novel was the psychiatry. It just made me think of that. I had the same thing with Jason of how to tell the story. I knew I wanted it to be a teenage girl essentially explaining what had happened in her life, and I needed a reason for why she would be telling that story. I didn't want to just do, she's keeping a diary or she's just telling somebody kind of for no reason. So the novel alternates between her life and her talking to a FBI agent and a psychiatrist who want to know what she knows for slightly different reasons. The psychiatrist is more interested in trying to help get her to the next stage of her life. The FBI agent wants to know certain things. So as a result, actually, the one thing I was very careful about was the psychiatry, because she is a extremely vulnerable 17-year-old who has been through these appalling ordeals, and I didn't want to get that wrong. I didn't want someone, you know, to read it and go, actually, a psychiatrist would never ask a girl in this position that question, you know, that would be reckless or irresponsible, or that would just be not helpful. So that was important in a way. But again, it came from a decision of how best to serve the story, as Phil says. It came from, like, what's the most interesting way I can give this girl's story to a reader, and it was to go with this way. But that then meant being very careful about a certain thing.